Hey, Jimbo, you ready for this deal?
Turn him out.
Turn him out.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, friends and neighbors. Time once again for the Cowboys of the Osage podcast with your host, Jimbo Snively and Cody Garnett. Now let's sing a little bit about it. Cowboys of the Osage, riding once again. Always got some time for a friend. And here they are, the Cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, the Buck and Flamingo Turquoise Shop, and Saucy Calf, traditional Native American food, all located right here in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, it's old Cody over here, and as always, I have my main man with me, Mr. Rodeo Historian himself, heck of a songwriter too, Jimbo Snively. Morning, Jimbo. Who are we talking to here?
Hey, Cody, boy, it's just another great day in Osage, man. And Cody, we got Chris Libert on the other end of the line. And Chris is one of the great cowboys of the late 70s and in the 80s. Kind of an overlooked guy, you know, when you think. Because he won the All-Around in 1982. He was a world champion calf roper in 1986. He won the average at the NFR in the steer wrestling in 82, won the average in the calf roping in 80 and 81. And he's the first cowboy to win $100,000 in the regular season before the finals.
Yeah, we were just talking about him a minute ago, and we're like, holy moly, this guy's done a lot.
Yeah, got a heck of a resume. But anyway, he's going to visit with us a while today. Chris, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
No, thank you very much. I'm glad to be there, here, wherever I'm at.
Well, I wish you was here. You need to come see us sometime. You ever get up to Pawhuska? A lot to see and do up here. Where'd you grow up at, Chris? Or where were you born and raised?
I was born in Washington State, just outside of Moses Lake, in a little town called Ephrata. And then we moved to Colorado for a year or so, I guess, and back to Washington by the time I was 2. And then my dad got a job running a ranch in the Bay Area there out of Milpitas. When I was about 3, I guess we moved down there, a little older, and we were there for a couple of years. And then we moved down, we'll stop at there's a little place there just out of San Jose. I lived there for a year and then moved down to Coyote where the place is still there. So that was when I was, I guess, 5. And we've been there ever since, and the family has. Of course, we moved back. We got a place in Texas now.
Right.
The Bay Area. You just don't think of the Bay Area being ranching country.
It's very ranching, you know, because you get up out of the bottoms there, and it's pretty steep hills, and it's just cattle country. Yeah, all the way from there, all over the San Joaquin Valley is cattle country. I mean, you know, Jack Roddy, he lived right there in San Jose. He's, you know, taught me to bulldog. And Tom Ferguson, of course, there in San Martin, which is just 30 miles from there, just south. And he and I both went to the same high school. He was out he was a senior, I think, when I was a freshman. I never did get to know him till later when I was in college. But yeah, there was a lot of cowboys there and a lot of ranchers, and a lot of big ranches.
You know, you don't think of California as rodeo country so much, but there have been a lot of great rodeo guys from California.
There has been.
And an unusual amount of good bulldoggers, seems like, you know, going back to Harley May and John W. Jones and guys like that, Bob Marshall, you know, Jack, and like you mentioned, Jack Roddy, he was like a 2-time world champion. I always heard he could bulldog about as good as anybody.
He was great. Yeah, I just went and saw him the other day. He's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
He's down in Stevensville now.
Yeah.
But,
right.
His niece is writing a book on his life story.
Yeah.
Right.
Should be coming out anytime soon, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's quite a character. But yeah,
were you ever around John W. Jones much?
a lot. Yeah, quite a bit. You know, when I was in San Luis Obispo, he was just down there in Morro Bay, which is just 15 miles south of, you know, right down Highway 1, you know, going down the coast, or going coast, which is San Luis Obispo.
I've heard several people say that they thought he was the best bulldogger they ever saw.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
I saw him throw one off a horse one time at San Jose. Jack Roddy entered him just kind of out of a fluky deal, and John W. was like 3-4. I think that was the last one he ran.
Wow.
Yeah, he could bulldog.
Yeah.
But,
and he taught a lot of people bulldogging. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that they learned from John W. Jones.
yeah, a lot of them did. I mean, he helped me, but, you know, Jack really basically was the one that, you know, he's the one that taught me how to bulldog.
Right. Well, I've heard a lot of good things about him, too, you know.
Jimbo, I used to bulldog a little bit in high school, and you'd have loved to have been there the days that we were learning it. We had this old setting up calf horse and this mule that was broke to ride, and they said, let's get over here in the return alley of the arena, which we had a big one. It was maybe 20 foot wide and, you know, 300, 400 foot long. And we started at one end of that deal, and at the other end was a great big block barn made out of cinder blocks. And I got down on the butt of this mule off this setting up calf roping horse, and the mule and the calf roping horse decided they were going to run off straight down this alleyway to the barn. And there was this fella on the mule named Roger Stockton, a pretty wild guy from up here in Ark City. And they were just matching each other's speed, and Roger was like telling me, let go. Well, I kept a hold of him all the way into that block barn at the end. We just ended up there in a big pile at the end. That was my first day bulldogging, Jimbo.
And your last?
No, but it didn't get much better after that. They didn't let me run by one, so if I was anywhere in the vicinity of one, I remember one time I put my foot up on the saddle horn and tried to jump at one. And the last one I did, I think I got my spur hung in my back cinch, and it dragged me the length of that big old arena. And from then on, I didn't bulldog. I just chihuahua'd. So
Yeah, I don't blame you.
It seemed like you could have used a little guidance at that point.
He could have used Jack Roddy, couldn't he?
yeah, I could have for sure.
Did you did the college rodeo thing, didn't you, Chris?
Yeah, I did. My first year out of high school, I went to Hartnell, and then the next year I went to work for a guy just feeding some calves or doctoring calves. They had a bunch of calves that were about 1,800 head of calves, were not very good shape. And so I did that year, took care of them, and then I went back the next year, and that's when the Copenhagen Skull was still big, and I won the Copenhagen thing for out there. And John told me, he goes, well, if you want to come back for the third year at Hartnell, he goes, I'll give you the money. So, well, that sounds like a pretty good deal. And, you know, it's great practice. You know, we had all kinds of calves. And so I did that, and then rodeoed that year, and then I ended up winning all around Hamilton at the end of the year then, and then I came home and was going to go to Cal Poly, and I had a horse flip over on me Thanksgiving Day and broke my leg pretty bad. And so I called Cal Poly. Well, this was after I was already in. I called Cal Poly after I got home, and I asked them if they would take me. School had already started, and they said, "Yeah, come on." So I went down there, and then I broke my leg after that in November. But anyway, it got better, and I ended up winning the nation that year, the calf roping.
That Cal Poly had quite a program, didn't he? Are they still going strong out there?
Yeah, Longo. Oh, shoot, I'll think of it in a bit. But anyway, Ed Longo, I think. Anyway, he's running it now.
I see.
But anyway.
Who's some of the guys you went to, who was on your team out there, Chris?
At Cal Poly?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I don't remember most of them. Crap. But,
who helped you with your roping? Was Tom Ferguson pretty influential on your calf roping?
yeah, when I was at Hartnell, Tom was friends with Paul Zanardi, a friend of mine that I lived with. And he would come out there in the spring and spend a week here, a week there, and we would go rope, and rope we did. And I know the first day we went to the practice pen, he pulls over to the convenience store. He goes, "Go buy some of those brown cotton gloves if you're in need them." And I said, "Okay." So I went and got me a pair of those, and sure enough, they were worn out by the time the week was over for flanking the time, because we flank and tied, hundreds and hundreds. But yeah, he was good.
What did you learn from him specifically? Anything you can think of that special?
It's not anything specific. It's just more, don't beat yourself. Don't make mistakes.
Right.
And just he always kept telling me to go faster. Which I just didn't go fast enough for him, I guess. But he was, and he is still, I still call him. Occasionally we'll get visiting. Yeah. I'll talk to him. Well, yeah, he's still good.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time here in Oklahoma, over at Miami.
Oh, yeah. I've been there. I was up there when I was starting out, and Ira and Maxine were still alive.
Yeah.
He was a great cowboy, too. What all did he win, Jimbo?
Talking about Tom Ferguson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won 6 all-arounds in a row, if I remember right. And what's unique about that, Cody, he won 3 the old way, and then there was about a 3-year span where they changed the rules, where they went by the money you won. Sometimes they would go by the money you won at the final. Sometimes they went by the who won the average at the final. That's how they crowned the world champion for about 3 years. And he won it then, too. It didn't matter how they changed the rules. He was going to win all around there in that 6-year span.
Yeah, he he would have won more, I think, had they didn't, had not switched it up, if they go with the year-end totals, because I know it cost Larry, his brother, steer wrestling championship, because he had a pretty unsurmountable lead going into it one year, and then they switched it, and I can't remember if Perrier wanted or who it was.
Yeah.
I wasn't going then.
Right.
I mean, going, but I think I think it was 77, 78 is when they did that.
Right.
And it made for that, but I think it was those 2 years. But
Yeah.
Why'd they do that, Jimbo? Did they lose track of the money, or were they trying to make the finals more exciting,
I think
or
they were
what?
probably trying to experiment, try to make the final more exciting. You know, where people were coming in, they already had the championship won, and no more money than there was at the finals. Then they couldn't. Nobody couldn't win enough to overcome it. You know, so they're trying to put more suspense in it, I guess. You know.
yeah, I think so, exactly. I mean, like Dave Bruckham in that year and won 5 go-rounds in the calf rope, I think it was 77, and won the calf rope. And then that's when, like, Chris Libby won it in the bareback ride.
Right.
But, yeah, it was, I get what they were coming from, but where it is now is better to just have enough money at the finals, because it doesn't matter how much money you have coming in, you have a chance to win it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good now, for sure.
Yeah, I remember when one of those first finals, the go-rounds paid $8,000 at Las Vegas, and then a couple years later they were paying $10,000, then $13,000, then $18,000, and I think they're all the way up over $30,000 per go-round now.
Yeah, I know.
It's good to see for those Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It's good.
Hey, Chris, me and Jimbo was having a conversation just a minute ago, and this would be kind of a little tip for anybody who's listening. Where do you guys aim to rope the neck as slick and sharp as you do? What point on the calf's body do you aim at?
I look at the right ear, you know, or try to. You don't always do it, but that's kind of a point of reference, you know, when you come across that. But it's been so long since I was sharp enough to know exactly where I was throwing my rope. I don't know.
I'm sure you hadn't forgot that.
You made it work wherever you was aiming.
I bet it's just like riding a bicycle for him.
Yeah, yeah. Who'd you rodeo with when you first got started in the PRCA, Chris?
Oh, different people. Well, Johnny McDonald, the guy I was trying to think of, one of the bareback. He was a bareback rider that bulldogged rode bareback horses and bulls and stuff when he was at Cal Poly. And we rodeoed together for a year or so, you know, occasionally. And I went to the finals with him the first time we drove back there. But in a number of guys, Dave Brock, I rodeoed with him later. Johnny Jones, I rodeoed with him quite a bit. Tom, some. Just a lot of different guys, you know.
Did you haul your own
Sure.
bulldogging horses, or did you just jump on one when you got there?
Seldom did I had one horse I hauled, or two, actually two, that I hauled for a while. And I didn't like doing it because then you had to have a hazing horse and you had to have somebody to haze. And for somebody to get on your hazing horse, and then, you know, then like this one horse I had, he could outrun anything going. And, you know, I'd get other hazers, I mean, good hazers, you know, and they'd just be late because he was that fast. So I ended up selling him to Larry Ferguson. And then just, you know, I rode him with Larry, you know, all of him. And it just works better for me. I didn't like hauling a bulldogging horse. I mean, there was occasional when it was nice, you know, we'd go somewhere and there was absolutely nothing to ride. And you always had something to get on, you know. Like that one horse I said that I sold to Larry, I bought him as a calf horse. And he got crippled and he got him well enough. But anyway, I just went to bulldogged on it for a while, and then one summer I'd take off and I thought, what do I have? It's the best one I have to haul. And he was it. So I started hauling him at Reno, and I know we went up to ended up at Pinoca, and that's just got that kind of a funky score, kind of off. It's not off a hill, but it's down a lane like at Pendleton, and there was nothing there I wanted to get on, so I just went and got a different saddle and bridle and put it on my calf horse, and placed on him there, and I figured up one time there was, and there was other guys riding him, but there was 26 rodeos I hauled him to, and somebody placed on him and one of them or the other. So how good a horse he was. But I didn't like hauling my own for loading horse, really.
What's it like getting down on a steer at Pendleton?
No, it's not getting down so much. It's just the ground is, if they go straight, it's, it's just, if you catch them, if you really catch their heads well and get your weight off your feet, it's not real bad. But if you try to catch and stick your feet in the ground, it's not much fun, because that ground's dry and hard and chopped up. And it's pretty hard on your own legs. But, it's not like I ever walked away from a cripple. I did one time just from my own stupidity. I stuck a foot a little bit too hard in the ground and popped over and come right over on my knee. And I think I cracked my kneecap, but that's about the worst that's happened to me there as far as bulldogging.
Jimbo, I was there one time, and I saw a steer wrestler. He got down on a steer, and he slid this steer long, long ways on that grass. And as soon as he threw him, this fella jumped up, and he jerked his pants down around his ankles because it was burning his legs so bad from sliding across that. It burned the back of his thigh on his right side.
Wow. Chris, was California, was it kind of hard to rodeo out of because of the location?
Because you got everywhere's a long ways away.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When I lived there and was going, hard, I'd be home about 45 days out of the year. It's all.
Wow.
And then when I moved back to Texas, probably, 81, 82 really. But then I was home probably 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah. And it was just easier to do. We would leave to go to Denver and get back after Phoenix. And then you would be in California, but you'd be flying back here every week to go to, those rodeos, Bladewater and all those be going on. And you would just fly in for, slack or whatever it might be, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then Braniff had a midnight flight that you could catch to San Francisco. And then you could be out there for the slacks like at, Red Bluff or Redding or whatever, the next morning, wherever you had to be at. So, it worked, but when I moved out here, it was the split, but you were here more,
You mentioned flying. You got any good flying stories? You ever rode an airplane with an old cowboy that was driving it? You guys have any trouble?
Knock on wood, no.
We've talked to so many people, and most of the stories lead back to Roy Cooper, it seems like, a lot of these wild airplane stories.
But, yeah, we've heard a lot of crazy stories.
No, I didn't. There's a few that were,
Yeah.
undesirable, but not really.
Nothing too bad.
No, we didn't land in any third.
Yeah, I had a guy, and he didn't tell this on the podcast, but he told it afterwards when I was just talking to him. He said he's flying with this guy, and the guy didn't say a word. He just got lower and lower and just landed at, and he could tell he was going to land out in this pasture. And boy, it looked rougher than heck to him, but he landed in this little old plane. He actually landed it on a gas pipeline, so it wasn't that rough. But he didn't say nothing. He just landed this plane, and the guy unbuckled his seatbelt and everything and said, "I got to get rid of some of this coffee." He just landed so he could take a leak and then took off again. I thought, well, man, oh man.
I'd have told him to pee his pants.
Yeah, I would too, or give him a pop bottle or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But
yeah, what is when these guys talk about, somebody running out of gas and they saved their lives and landed out on this dirt road. That's, well, the stupid son of a gun shouldn't have run out of gas.
Right. And who was it? Cody told us about the time that who was it? They were flying the airplane. They'd worked on it, put an engine in or something all night and worked on it. And the guy was tired. The pilot was tired. The cowboy that drove the plane was tired. So he got it up in the air and he just handed the controls to this other. He said, "You take over." And that guy had never flown a plane. He said, "I got to get some sleep." And I can't remember who that was, but anyway, he just handed the controls to him, and I guess he was on autopilot or whatever. But he made him fly for 2 or 3 hours while he got a little nap.
Yeah, if you see a mountain, they'll wake me up.
Yeah. I don't want nothing to do with it. From cowboy pilots.
No.
You mentioned go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You mentioned 1982. That was kind of the magical year when you won the all-around. What do you remember about that year?
Oh, it just so many things went right.
They have to, for a guy to win it all like that.
Yeah, I think I went to 123 rodeos and turned out at 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Which is not very much.
That's a lot of rodeos to be entering and working 2 events. Did you work 2 events at most of those rodeos you entered, Chris?
Yes, always kept up below.
Everything did fall in place for you to calf rope and bulldog at 121 rodeos that year.
It was 164 is what it was.
164, holy moly. That's got to be some kind of record.
No, I don't know. Somebody had to do more than that. But I know I went to 180 some the next year. Didn't win there as much. But
well, there was a lot of tough calf ropers back then. Roy Cooper, and Dave Brock, Jimmy Cooper. A lot of very tough era in calf roping, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, George Kahn and like Joe, Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
You just, if you had the list, I'd go down it, Gary Johnson, he was going too,
Yeah.
But it made a big difference, the cap size on who was going. Because like in 85, 85, that director had a lot of small calves. I mean, there's a lot of smaller calves were roped.
Right.
And, so consequently, if you look at who made the finals that year versus the next year when Jerry Jeton became the director, it was a whole different group. Probably 20 pounds a man difference.
Yeah. Right.
But, that year they had, I had a really good horse that year. Well, 82 I had a good horse. I was thinking 86. But,
yeah.
82 I had old Joe, big baby. And he was phenomenal. But like I said, everything went good. Won a lot of good rodeos and grew good, and, which you have to do. But
Did you realize you were closing in on $100,000? Did that mean anything at that time that you were going to be the first guy to win $100,000?
I never looked at that.
Right.
I always had like a goal of let's just say $1,000 a week, and it didn't matter where it was at or whatever. But if I could win $1,000 a week, that was my goal.
He was averaging $2,000 a week that year, Jimbo.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But,
Chris, did you buy your horses already made, or did you make your own horses, or?
Pretty much. I mean, they were always made. I mean, they'd been rodeoed on them. Like Joe, he belonged to Ronnie Reed. J.J. Rider trained him. But I went and bought him to breed. And, he was just, I went and looked at him, and somebody told me that he was maybe navicular. So I called him and I told him when I went to look at him, I said, well, I'm not going to pay you what you want for him. I make you $10,000. And, I said, you want me to come look at him? He said, yeah, come on. So I went down there and I wrote the deal on it. I said, well, if he passes a vet check, I said, I'll take him. So had him vetted, and the vet said, there's nothing wrong with this navicular bone. They had him shod wrong or some stupid thing. And, anyway, he was 4 guys won more money on him than any other horse I had. I think there's a couple, 2 or 3 guys in San Francisco that ended up, with riding him, ended up making the finals. Just because he was that easy to ride. He ran that fast and stock walk.
You say you gave $10,000 for him?
No, I told him I wouldn't give $10,000. I told him so if I can get $7,500.
Wonder what that booger be worth now. I mean, $75,000 probably wouldn't even buy him today.
Oh, him? No, he'd be in the same category probably. Like if I roped as good as Cage Bent, he'd be there where his horse would be. He scored. There wasn't a horse scoring that scored better. And he could run across that line, and he'd really slide. And he'd pull on, but he would hardly ever drag, So yeah, no, he was awesome.
Sounded like he gave you a real good chance to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't win on him, it was pretty much your fault.
You mentioned that Cow Palace there. What was that rodeo like?
I don't know. It was my hometown. It was I remember going there when I was 10 years old in the cattleman's day. My dad and I'd go up there and we'd go stay all day, watch stock horse competition and all that, and watch rodeo. Anyway, yeah, it was a big deal.
Was that just right down near downtown San Francisco there? Or?
It was just south of town in the South Bay area.
I can't even imagine a big rodeo like that going on out in San Francisco now.
Did they fill it up back then, Chris, the crowd?
Yeah, pretty much most of the time. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Did you ever go to Gary LeFew's Bucking Ball?
Yeah, I actually did.
What was that deal all about? Because I'd see like pictures in the sports news of it and stuff growing up, but I never really. It seemed like I saw the Cowboys dressed up and all kind of wild stuff going on at that deal.
Oh yeah, and they had boxing matches and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Did you ever see 2 bulldoggers getting a boxing match there?
No, I didn't. I wasn't much into watching people beat themselves up.
They like the fights over there. I still remember that old picture of Slim Pickens getting in a fight right down in the arena.
Yeah, it was right outside in the alley or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Somebody knocked him out one punch.
Knocked Slim Pickens out?
Yeah, they'd got it. Slim was a clown, and he'd bought this little bull off this guy, and it was part of his act. But anyway, the bull died, but he hadn't paid him for it yet, and the bull died sometime during the season, and Slim, that guy was out there and hit him up for the money, and he said, well, he died. And he said, well, it don't matter. You still owe me. You used him all year, and the guy, and Slim got out a check. I forget if what he was wanting $1,000 for the bull or something, and Slim got out his checks, and he said, he signed it and said, make that out for $500 and I'll sign it. And that guy said, no, I'll make it out for $1,000 and you'll sign it. And they got into it, and they went back in the alley, and that guy knocked him out with one punch. It's a real famous picture. Slim's falling backwards. He's colder than a wedge.
Never heard anything about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever meet old Slim Pickens or Ben Johnson out there?
Slim, no, I never, I probably walked by him or something. I was a little kid, but I got to know Ben Johnson later. I roped with him in some celebrity ropings out here, like at Walt Garrison's MS rodeo and all that. But, yeah, Ben was great. I really loved him. He was a lot of fun to be around.
Those rodeos that they'd put on, what would they do? Bring the professionals in and then bring some celebrities to rope with the professionals, or what?
The celebrity roping? No,
yeah.
We would go over to say Walt Garrison just lived down the street from me, and so we'd go over to his place, and he would get all the celebrities there, and then whoever the other ropers were going to be would come, and we'd practice for a day and go over to the mesquite. So,
Walt Garrison, he was an interesting fellow, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, good guy.
Wasn't he bulldogging while he was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and then they didn't want him to, so he'd have to sneak around and enter under another name or something?
No, I don't know. There's a lot of stories, I guess, but the one I remember is that Walt was entered down at Mansfield, and Landry come walking up to him at the rodeo. He goes, when you start playing for us, he goes, there'll be no more of this till after the season. So that was that. But no, he was a good guy. He hilarious. I mean, just always something funny.
Yeah, I used to work for Copenhagen Skull and for quite a while in my life, and I got to know Walt fairly decent through the years, and he always seemed like just a great guy, and like you said, he always had the good stories too.
Oh, he has the best stories. You ever read his book, Once a Cowboy?
Sir?
Have you ever read his book, Once a Cowboy?
No, but I got it on my list now.
Yeah, it's sure funny. Yeah.
He played college ball here though at Stillwater too, Cody.
I was friends with old Rusty Martin. They played together, and
he got the tough yards even when he was in the pros. He wasn't no burner like some of those others. But in fact, the story goes that they said if you needed 3 yards, old Walt would get you 3 yards, and if you needed 4 yards, old Walt would get you 3 yards.
Yeah, I like that. You ever see that movie North Dallas 40?
Yeah.
With old Nick Nolte in it?
Yeah.
I always thought about Walt Garrison and his crew for some reason every time I would watch that thing.
Right.
Thinking, wonder how wild it was back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Crazy.
Oh, I think it was pretty wild. Wow.
You competed at Oklahoma City at the finals and also at Vegas. How different were they, and which one do you like best?
some rope at, I mean, Oklahoma City for sure, you know. You had a ring that was 280 foot long or 290 and 100 foot wide.
Right.
You know, Vegas is what, 180 foot long, maybe?
Yeah, right. I bet that's tough for a bulldogger in Vegas, isn't it? I mean, it just seemed like you run out of room awful quick in Vegas if you're a bulldogger.
Yeah, you really got to take a start. You know, if you don't, you know, you can't be late.
Right.
What was the atmosphere like there in Oklahoma City? You know, in Las Vegas, there's endless stuff to do, and, you know, they get endless people. What would they do in Oklahoma City when the rodeo wasn't going on? What all went down?
Well, like, we stayed there in Marriott, and, you know, you just pretty much hung out there for about 3 or 4 years, or what, now, wasn't that 3? Yeah, maybe it was. And, so then they switched it and give each hotel an event. So, like the Marriott, you know, which Roy was, you know, the guy then, and he wanted it. So anyway, the capper was always going to stay at the Marriott, and anyway, they did that way. But you know, some of the other guys, it wasn't so good. Some of the hotels, it's just like in Vegas. That you know, the first time we got there, it was in 80. Well, I didn't make it in 85, which is the first year that they had it, and then I went in 86, and they had us some nasty hotel, and my wife was in tears. And so we went back to the Marriott and said, what else you got? And so they put us over at some brand new hotel like that. It was very nice. But yeah, it just depended where they stuck you. To what, you know, kind of rooms and stuff. Because there's a lot of difference.
Boy,
it was all good.
Isn't it something what this Las Vegas has turned into with the trade shows and the breakaway roping going on and the big team ropings going on and National Finals Rodeo going on?
Well, you know, the first year that in 86 when I went out there, we had a cab and we were going somewhere. And we asked, you know, what it was like, you know, because the crowds were, I don't know, it was probably half full, you know, the arena. And he goes, doubled their expectations of what it would be. And it was half full.
Wow.
So you can tell from there where it's going. So they're in position. I mean, I don't know why the PRCA didn't really hold their feet to the fire and get some, I mean, big money. I mean, you know, pay these guys. I mean, they're getting paid, but not to some other sports by any means. I mean, when you bring in that many millions of people, you know, it went from Vegas's worst week of the year to their best week of the year.
Right.
In 1 or 2 years.
It's unbelievable out there. We went out a couple years ago, Jimbo, and I think the cheapest rodeo tickets we could find were around $300 a piece. Cheapest.
Yeah, I don't. It's a tough ticket.
It's a tough ticket out there anymore.
And you know, most people go out there don't even go to the rodeo. They go out there for the rodeo, but they're not really actually go to the rodeo. They just take it all in, the trade shows and everything. Probably couldn't get tickets anywhere, couldn't afford them or whatever. You know, they just go out there and have a big time. They say they went to the finals, but they actually didn't go to the finals.
Chris, what did you do to prepare yourself for the finals coming into them every year?
Just practice. Just practice. Usually, those times, you get some big, strong calves and go to flanking time.
A lot of these guys now, they build arenas right to the specifications of the Thomas and Mack out there. Did you go to an arena that was close to that size, or did you just stick at home and practice on what you had?
I mean, the first year I went to the finals in '79, I called my dad and I said, "Hey, go get me some calves." And so he went and bought me some calves, and they were weighing 300 to 400. And I never had my own arena at that point. I just went up to college or whatever. So, I just had these big old calves, and I just tied them to a post by myself and just chased them down, blanket tie. And then I went out there and had some big old calves and something to work out. But,
how many times would you run down the rope in a day, flanking and tying from the post?
Oh, it varied. I know in '82, Tom would come over and he'd bring a couple horses, and I had 35 head of calves. And I'd run them through and rope and tie every one of them twice. And so I was roping and tying 75, then we'd flank and tie. So then we'd go after that, over to Tom's, and then we'd bulldog. So
pretty good day of practice. Yeah.
Yeah. I know after when I got home, I don't think I got on the horse for 30 days. Or 20. I'd had enough.
When did you retire, Chris?
I can't tell you exactly when I quit buying my card. Probably around 05, something like that, 06, 07, somewhere in there.
Was it hard to quit?
Yeah, I mean, but it's hard to get your butt kicked every week too.
Yeah.
So, I couldn't really compete the way I thought I wanted to compete.
Sure.
But I mean, I still went to some little road races around. But as far as going to the pro rodeos, it was probably in the early 2000s.
Yeah. What do you think about the size? When you mentioned calves of the size, what do you think about the size calves they're roping today? A lot of them.
I think it works. I mean, I couldn't. I don't think I can beat them on them the way that these guys are. So many guys they're so, athletic and quick and strong and
right.
Where, they, and then their horses don't have to be as big because, like the little horses, a lot of them that they're riding, not all of them, but some of them, they would really have a hard time, day in, day out roping, 280 to 325 pound calves are going to have to worn out. Those are the worst. They're going to take the worst turks and stuff. But, I think, though, for the public, I think people like it. When I was going, we were going to get a beer, calf roping started.
Yeah.
Now that's not the case. I mean, they're staying and watching. It's fast. It's exciting. The other way is, the old purist of somebody, that grew up over calves and, knew what it takes to be able to rope and tie a big, strong calf. It takes a special horse. the little horse just can't, physically, most of them anyway, I don't think can take it day in, day out. It's too hard on them.
He mentioned a guy there a while ago, Jimbo. He was actually one of my favorites watching growing up, old Jerry Jeton. Something about him. I don't know. He was a bigger guy.
Jerry the Jet, wasn't it?
Well, he seemed like he'd rope him real quick, and then he kind of waller down the rope and then just spit him out on the ground.
Right.
He could really flinch, and he tied you, but yeah, and he rode a big. His horses were always 15-1 or 2. Seemed like, I think he rode a little horse he got from Tablock, that black horse. He did really well on him, but anyway, he had a couple, big horses. But no, Jerry rode really well. No doubt about it.
He was always a crowd favorite, I felt like, because he bigger guy, roping calves. He seemed like a real character, too. I didn't know him real well. I met him a couple times in life, but he always seemed like a real character and a funny guy to be around.
Oh, yeah, he had a lot of personality, Jerry. It was a lot of fun. Like Joe Beavers. Joe Beavers is just one of the special personalities,
Yeah, that guy can handle a rope about as good, better than anybody, maybe, old Joe.
Yeah, he's a good roper.
He'll get it out of his hand, too. Holy moly.
Yep.
He ain't going to waste no time. He was heading them steers faster than the heelers could even get around there to get a shot at him.
Yeah.
There at the Thomas and Mack.
Chris, you won the greatest title in rodeo, I think, no doubt, all-around title. Did it mean as much to you then as it does now, or more then than now, or looking back at it?
I don't know. When I won it, it was just such a relief. Because, in the bulldogging in 79, I had like 14 seconds, first row at the finals, to win the bulldogging. And I draw the steering, he goes hard left, and the horse I was riding didn't burn that hard on the first steer, ever did. And he kind of hung back, and then when he went around, the steer just stopped and jumped away from him. And anyway, it cost me when, that's about the only I was going to win. And then come back that year to win the all-around. And I'd won all my money at finals in the bulldog. I'd placed in I think 5 go-rounds or something going into the short go. And then come back and I catch him steer and I'm sliding along. It's going to pooch him around when he almost gets away from me. And it scared the crap out of me. And I jumped up there and got him in. I was like 11 on him and threw him down. And that was when it was like, just a ton of friction thrown off my shoulders once I threw him down. Because I knew at that point that they couldn't get me. So.
What was it like bulldogging at Cheyenne back when they had that 30-foot barrier?
It was sit there and wait for them to go. And just takes a while. I mean, you're rolling, I don't know. I didn't know that they look for that now.
I think they backed it down to 20 foot, and they don't run any fresh steers anymore.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, that would be different. Yeah, no, it was. You're gonna, on Sunday you're gonna run them down there.
Looks like a guy was going at a high rate of speed, especially after
fast.
them steers got a couple runs on them.
It looks fast.
Well, it's that, and then I know one year there, I'm sitting in the box, and the steer walks out, because they didn't do anything to push him. And the steer just walks over to the fence, there's grass growing over there, and he starts correcting. And somebody kind of shoos him to get him going, and he turns around and walks and goes back over. I mean, it took, I think, like an hour, but I know it wasn't, but, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But, yeah, that was a long time to sit there and wait and watch one go.
That's a long time for a bulldogging horse to sit in the box.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if your horse wasn't sitting there real quiet, the circle would have been going on too. But yeah, it's different. You approach the steer different. Like I would always come in wide and then come into them, kind of just mash them off, and make sure my hazer was ahead of me. So he had control of the steer, and then I can go decide where I wanted to go at that point. You have to ride your horse and keep trying to get them in a jam.
Those old steers, they used to pick them guys up. They used to pick their head up and run off with them there, Jimbo.
Oh, yeah.
They were so big.
I know. That's always, to me, been the best watching for bulldogging was Cheyenne, just because of the speed.
Yep. It's good watching. I'd sure hate to be doing it.
No, I would too. I just want to watch it.
No, it's no fun. One time I had a steer. He comes down and he's kind of going to the right, and then I see Larry Ferguson is hazing for me, and he picks him up and he starts taking him left. So then I go when I see he's got him, and I mean, this is just a matter of seconds, right? And so I go at him, and I'm not watching where I'm going, and I get off, and the fence is right in front of me, and I thought, oh crap. Well, I catch him, and the horse has nowhere to go but just straight across in front of me. And my feet hit way to the right of the steer. And I go for about boom, boom, and I just let go. Well, it flips me around on my back in front of the steer. And he just, when he goes over me, he just jumps and kicks me right in the chest. And so I come back and shoot, and I unbutton my shirt, and I got this cloven hoof print in my chest, scabs. Well, they're scabs yet, but they turned into just a scab. But yeah, pretty large.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if it's easy, Girl Scouts would be doing it.
Yes,
Jimbo.
that's right. Chris, if you were making a Mount Rushmore of all-around Cowboys, who would you put on it? Need 4 names.
man, I tell you what, it's hard to be past up old Trevor Brazil, wouldn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, you got Jim Shoulders,
Yeah.
but, different end of the arena, it's a lot harder on him, but I tell you what Trevor did, it's done, is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. So we got Trevor and Jim Shoulders and need 2 more names.
Oh, who else? Maybe Casey Dibbs for the Flair.
There you go.
Tom Ferguson for consistency.
That's 4 pretty good names. I can't argue with that. Can you, Cody?
Oh, no. He's one of the first guys that dipped back in the old guys like that.
Right.
I like that. He stood in a rodeo.
I know. Yeah, he's a historian.
Well, shoot. Jimbo, you got anything else for him?
Well, just really appreciate him coming on with us today, and you just had one of the great careers, and we appreciate you sharing it with us a little bit today, and I'm sure the folks out there will enjoy hearing from you. What are you doing nowadays, Chris?
We got a ranch down here, just out of Forestburg. Run some cows.
You trained any horses or anything?
Raced some. Broke my hip here about 5 months ago.
Wow.
I haven't been on one for a while, but
Yeah. Now your wife's a barrel racer, is that right?
right.
Y'all got any grandkids coming up? Any Libberts coming up?
I got one right now. I got my son just had a boy in March, and little Kaysen, and yeah, he's doing good. So, but that's the only one so far.
Well, all right. Well, Chris, we sure appreciate you coming on today and talking about your career with us a little bit.
If you get out of there, come north, come see us up here at Husker. There's a lot, like I said, a lot to do. We'll show you the museum and no telling what we'll get into.
That'd be fun. If I do, I will.
Well, all right.
You know, appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir.
Our pleasure.
Take care now.
You too.
Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Have a good one.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimbo. He was quite the cowboy, and I'm glad we did a podcast with him.
Yeah.
Brought him back in my memory, in the forefront of my mind now.
Yeah.
Him, Tom Ferguson, talking about some of them great guys. Jerry Jeton, that's a name I hadn't heard in a while.
That's a great era of rodeo, too. You know, when we went from Oklahoma City to Vegas, that's when it just really took off, you know. And just great time to be a rodeo back then.
Well, all right, everybody, get over here to the museum. Get over to the Buck and Flamingo Turquoise Shop. We're actually streaming live on our Facebook pages now. The museum page and the podcast page every Sunday night or sale. That's how we pay for all this stuff. So if you ever wanted to support us, just buy a piece of jewelry from the sale. Plus, me and Jimbo, hadn't told him yet, we got some Cowboys of the Osage caps coming out. We'll have a few dozen of them here real soon. And y'all can have one.
And it's getting close enough to Christmas. They need to be thinking about buying something for their wives.
Oh, yeah. And also, we got some great Indian tacos right here on the corner over at Saucy Calf.
I'll second that. Fry bread. Wow.
This fry bread's been tough on me, Jimbo.
Me too. Have to let out my belt.
I know. I got to unbutton my top button and leave my belt buckled sometimes. Yep. I had to put one of the girls' hair ties on to make a stretchy top button the other day on one of my pairs of pants. And I'm blaming it all on that fry bread.
Well, me too. Me too.
Never been fatter, never been happier, though.
Right,
I think there's something in it. I think there's something in it that makes you feel good.
It's a happy fat.
Well, all right, everybody. This has been a good one, and we'll see y'all next week.
Later.